ban. My name is Christoph, and as always, we're going to be covering the hottest picks right now so that you guys know who you need to pick, who you need to ban in every single one of your games. And as always, our question of the day: what champion would you like to have as a pet? For me, I would like to have Gnar, because Gnar is not only cute, but he can also transform into my bodyguard. What about you, Max? Who would your pet be?
Probably Ivern. I always wanted to play on Garden.
And as always, guys, if you want to get better at League of Legends this season, then make sure to check out ProGuides.com using the description link below. Go find your challenger coach right now who will tell you exactly what you need to do to win more games. All right, with all that being said, let's get right into the video. Kicking off the top lane is going to be Ornn. Honestly, no surprise here because he's been such a prevalent pick in both solo queue and competitive play as of late. However, the buffs to Sunfire Cape this patch have set Ornn up to dominate the Rift even harder. I promise you, if you aren't sure about who you should be playing, just pick up Ornn. It's an easy choice. He's also worth a ban for sure, as having to play against one means that the enemy team will naturally have a stronger scaling than they would without him. No one likes to lose because they made one mistake, the game dragged on, and they got outscaled. Gargoyle Stoneplate has been trending recently. A lot of champions, including supports, are starting to build this item because of the immense amount of survivability it provides. It's a solid pickup on Ornn, and you definitely cannot underestimate this champion. He provides a bunch of crowd control, deals lots of damage, and upgrades his teammates' items. Next up in the top lane is our beloved Darius. If you're not familiar with the changes this patch, you should know that Darius is now a viable jungler. What this means for him in the top lane is that he's a lot harder to counterpick now. Usually you could just assume that if someone on the enemy team locks in Darius, he's going top. However, since he can jungle now, it's not that straightforward. We know that in lower elo this stuff isn't that important yet, but there's still one more thing you need to consider. His Q will now heal him when it hits large monsters. This will allow Darius to farm jungle camps in his downtime or even heal off them while waiting for the wave to come to his turret. This is in every single way a huge buff to Darius, as if he needed any more buffs, but hey, 200 plus years of collective experience, right? The norm is to run Ghost on him while also taking Nimbus Cloak and Celerity. Nimbus Cloak provides you a burst of movement speed when you use a summoner spell, so when you cast Ghost, you'll run even faster because of the synergy with Nimbus Cloak. There's basically no escaping from him with this setup, so make sure that you're abusing Darius as much as you can before he gets nerfed. Okay, while those guys are familiar faces, we're still going to show you those builds one more time. Take a look or pause the video if you need some time to take them in. We're going to head into the jungle next. First up in the jungle is going to be Rek'Sai. She's been a dominant force in the jungle for quite a while now, and has recently gained a bunch of popularity. Nimbus Cloak is paramount on her. Make sure to pair it up with Stalker's Blade for Blue Smite. This combination is the reason why Rek'Sai has been successful recently. After smiting an enemy, she steals their movement speed and also gains a speed buff right after. This has led to Rek'Sai ganks being even more devastating than before. As always, she still deals an incredible amount of damage with the combination of Hail of Blades and her Q. Rek'Sai is a strong pick because of her raw dueling power and because she can scout the Fog of War with her Tremor Sense. It's a very unique mechanic, and experienced Rek'Sai players take full advantage of it to outmaneuver their opponents. She's also an incredible pick for skirmishing because she's able to carry 2v2 or 3v3 fights pretty hard with her insane damage output. Last patch, she ended up with a 51.6% win rate, which is pretty impressive considering she also had a solid play rate. Rek'Sai doesn't draw many bans, so make sure to pick her up for some free wins. If you're between gold and diamond, you guys are in the sweet spot to play Shaco. While we're reluctant to call Shaco OP, the statistics do not lie, as he held a 53% win rate in platinum and higher. Perhaps Shaco players are carrying the champion, but needless to say, they're finding a lot of success. Anywhere below gold, however, we find that Shaco really isn't that effective. It's likely a combination of the players as well as the fact that you could play someone who snowballs even harder than him in a lower elo bracket. Shaco creates a lot of stress for enemies as they always need to worry about his ganks. Since Shaco can stealth temporarily, he can choose unique angles to gank from and catch his enemies by surprise. He's one of the best champions at camping an enemy, as his ganks can be rather difficult to avoid once you fall behind, and honestly, he's extremely tilting. Even pushing up for vision can be a massive risk. For the mid-game, Shaco acts like any other assassin and attempts to one-shot his opponents. With items like Duskblade and Infinity Edge, this shouldn't really be an issue, and Shaco also has quite a few ways of getting out of sticky situations. He can use his ultimate or set up some boxes on his escape route beforehand to make it even harder to catch him. We're throwing those jungle builds up on the screen one more time for you guys as we transition into the mid lane. So our first mid lane pick, it should come as no surprise that we're going to be mentioning Zed. He received a buff just like Darius this patch that should allow him to effectively clear the jungle. Unfortunately, this also bleeds into his mid lane strength as well, as he can now funnel himself better or more effectively counter jungle his opponent's raptors in between waves. At the end of the day, Zed has more options to work with now than before, and he'll only grow stronger with these changes. Zed's been drawing a ton of bans, but that shouldn't deter you from banning him yourself. Especially if you play champions that struggle against him, Zed is definitely worth taking out from the game because of how powerful he is right now. On the flip side, make sure to pick him up again if you already know how to play him. Many Zed players are opting to take Scorch on him right now, implying that they're really aiming to bully their opponents in lane. Zed's trades are nasty. He throws out his shadow and chunks you down with his E and Q. Whenever he activates Electrocute, you've probably lost at least half of your health. He's pretty oppressive to lane against, and even if you counterpick him, he's able to safely farm with his Q, so you can't ever completely shut him out of the game. I'd especially watch out for him as well as other assassin pickups on cloud maps. Cloud Dragons lower the cooldown on Zed's ultimate, which can get really dangerous when paired with Ultimate Hunter and the amount of cooldown reduction he normally builds. Talon also received a buff to help him out in the jungle as well. His buffs should do the same thing. Talon can now more effectively funnel himself and also steal away enemy jungle camps with ease. Even thinking about the increased gold income on a champion like Talon is honestly terrifying. He already snowballs so hard with any gold lead, and now it's even easier for him to find them. With champions like him and Zed, you have to think about how cheap their power spikes come. For Talon, he only needs to finish a Tiamat, while Zed wants a serrated Dirk. The kicker is that both these items build out of a ton of longswords, so getting to them should be no issue at all. Once Talon finishes a Tiamat, he should have no problems whatsoever pushing his wave, and then proceeding to farm jungle camps right after. At the end of the day, he's going to have a lot more gold in his pocket, and he's going to be able to do even more than before as a result. Talon is one mobile champion. He's one of the best roamers in the game because of the fact that he can jump over walls in the jungle. He applies a ton of side lane pressure, which can make playing against him very difficult. Ban him if you're not picking him this patch. Okay guys, that's it for the mid lane. Now let's take a look at the bot lane. Okay guys, we're gonna save you a bunch of time and not talk about Misfortune. So we're gonna be talking about some other marksmen this time. Jinx is actually popping off on the Rift. Are you guys excited? With lethal tempo, Jinx's damage is actually insane in the later stages of the game, and her all-ins during the laning phase are something you cannot forget about either. As one of the best hyper carries in the game, Jinx is one of the best late-game champs you can have on a team. Especially because solo queue has so much chaos and you never know what's going to happen, Jinx is able to thrive. She's got a reset mechanic built into her passive, meaning that a single takedown during a fight can lead to many more. On top of this, she's an extremely snowbally champion during the laning phase as well. Give her one kill and you're probably doomed for the rest of the laning phase, to be honest. Jinx's incredible range allows her to stand toe-to-toe against many marksmen and makes her pretty difficult to reach in the later parts of the game. Next up on the list, we have Senna. Didn't she get nerfed recently though? Well, apparently that doesn't change anything, and Senna is still one of the most powerful marksmen down bottom. Again, it's largely due in part to the incredible range she has. Especially in later stages of the game, this becomes a huge problem that a lot of players cannot find a way to deal with. You'll want to run Glacial Augment as well as Approach Velocity with her. The slow as well as the increased movement speed when chasing enemies is huge. When you hit someone with a rapid fire cannon empowered auto attack, you'll slow them and can chase them from an easy follow-up attack or Q as well. Senna basically has infinite scaling, so she's also a tremendously powerful marksman. She ended last patch with a 52.5% win rate and drew a ton of bans. Okay guys, one last time, let's check out those bot lane builds before we finish up with support. Nami has been a dominating presence in the bot lane ever since the buff to her E, which gave her slow on spells as well. She's able to better synergize with mages, and many other marksmen can more effectively apply her slows now. Champions like Lucian, Misfortune, and Vayne really love laning with Nami because she enables them so well. Bot laners who have a ton of kill pressure by themselves love having a support that can speed them up, keep them alive, and also allow their auto attacks to slow. When you've got a champion with a bunch of damage, the best thing you could hope for is the ability to stick to your opponents. Nami makes this possible in many ways and scales decently into the mid and late game as well. Few, I mean very few people consider Nami to be ban-worthy. She had a ban rate of 1% last patch, literally meaning that over 100 games you'd see her banned once. If you want someone to pick, she is your girl. Okay, so let's talk about this strange build on Bard. So basically, he's going rapid fire cannon, dead man's plate, and it's still a thing, guys. Can't say I'm super shocked, but Bard held the highest win rate of any meta support last patch at 53%. He also had a ban rate even lower than Nami's, just below 1%. As a result, you can definitely pick him up, since you'll basically be able to play him in pretty much any game. However, if you want to avoid him, he's definitely worth the ban, as this build makes him pretty strong. Bard is a support that deals a lot of damage, can roam around the map to make plays, and proves to be difficult to beat. This build makes everything annoying about him even more annoying. He runs faster with Dead Man's Plate, is a lot tankier than he'd normally be, and does even more damage than before. Bard players are literally running around Summoner's Rift carefree and looking for a fight simply because they can. Why not? He's pretty safe to do so since he can always portal out when necessary. Alright guys, we're going to show you these builds one more time as we conclude the video. That's it for our OP pick or ban video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure to check out ProGuides.com to find your challenger coach, as well as our YouTube channel for more videos like this. Drop a like or a comment, and make sure to subscribe to stay updated with our content. That's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck in your next few games, and I'll see you on the Rift.